Hello everyone and welcome back to Lucky Loaders 15, where I'll be giving you 4 tips for tomorrow's horse racing action. Now before we get into them, let's quickly just reflect on how our selections performed today. In the end, it wasn't a bad day for us as we just came out on top. It had been a little bit of a frustrating day until our nap winner, which ran at Beverley. That was the back for Dane O'Neill and Mark Johnston. Now if you were watching the markets earlier today, it was actually quite weak in the market. I did see this horse reach as big as 4-1, so if you took the 4-1, fair play to you there. But it was advertised at 7-2 last night, and it was generally that price for the majority of the day. But as we got closer towards post time, there was a lot of late support for it, and in the end he was able to justify that. Dane O'Neill got to the front, and it was a good typical Mark Johnston performance, you know, when they're tough as nails. And in the end, he just got first run and was very tough to pass. I think he could be one to keep on side this season. I think he'll need a sharp turning track like Beverley, maybe like Chester as well, and decent ground. And if he's got those in his favour, he could definitely be a horse maybe 90 plus come the end of the season, so he's definitely going to be a handicapper I think you want to keep on side. Elsewhere, we had a little bit of profit, each way profit with Chill for Oisin Murphy and Andrew Bolden, but unfortunately just got going a little bit too late. I think she would have won after another couple of strides, but yeah, that was a little bit disappointing there. Elsewhere, the other frustrating horses that finished second for us was Naval Crown. He finished second to Tactical. Now I saw 1 or 2 people put up Tactical in the comments box below, and fair play to you there, because I didn't think he would actually get 7 furlongs. I thought he was more of a 5-6 furlong kind of type, but he absolutely flew home, and he was really unlucky. He got hampered a few times in running, and I think if Naval Crown had stuck to the rail, Tactical wouldn't have got past in the closing stages. Now I saw some people saying that was Will Buick's fault, that he drifted away from the rail, but it wasn't, because if you watch the head on, Will Buick had his whip in the left hand, you know, trying to guide him over to that rail, but the horse just had a little bit of a mind of its own, you know, and decided to drift away from it, and that just opened up the gap for Oisin. But I do think the best horse won on the day, Naval Crown. He ran respectably enough, but in the end was just there to be shot at and got done late on. The other horse as well that finished second for us, I should say, was Marie's Diamond. I thought Sylvester gave him an okay ride. I think he was trying to beat Global Giant, because if you watched the camera work when it was focusing on them side by side, Sylvester D'Souza, he did slow down the pace halfway through the race, you know, because I think he was just trying to get Global Giant out of his comfort zone, because I think he always thought that Marie's Diamond would be able to fend him off, like we already mentioned there, with the typical Johnston fashion. Because if you, like I said, you go back and watch it, he just slows it down and then he kicks on, and he looks like he's got Global Giant beat, and I think that's what he was trying to do, get Global Giant beat. But in doing that, it set it up for My Oberon, who was a nice horse last season, had a few frustrating performances towards the end of his career last year, but it looks like he's got it back on track, and it'd be interesting to see what he does this season. And then the other tip that ran for us was at Cheltenham. That was Cool Cody. He ran well for a long way, jumped well, you know, but in the end just got outstayed going up the Cheltenham Hill. Maybe he's had a few hard races, but I thought he had no excuses, and he tried his heart out, but it just wasn't good on the good enough for us on the day. But in the end, it wasn't a bad result for us. 7-2 winner to go along with our 15-2 each way. So overall, not too bad, but it'd be nice if maybe we could have a few more winners tomorrow. So let's get into it then. 4 tips for tomorrow's racing, and we're going to be starting with my Longshot tomorrow, which is going to be running in the Craven, the feature race of the 3-day meeting at Newmarket, often seen as a 2,000 guineas trial. It runs in the 3:35, and we're going to go with my Longshot here, Akmaam, for Jim Crowley and Brian Meehan in the now Shadwell colours. Obviously, we lost Sheikh Hamdan and Al a couple of weeks ago, and they're now just called the Shadwell Group. But this horse, I think, is a bit overpriced in this market. Currently available at 10-1 with bookmakers. That price was available with William Hill, who are paying out 4 places on the race, and I'm going to recommend a 0.5 each way selection here. Now, this horse I thought was a really interesting contender. If you go back and watch his debut run at Ascot, he was really impressive that day, and the sectionals were pretty good as well. He then came here to the Rowley Mile at Newmarket in October, when he ran ran in the Autumn Stakes, and that turned out to be quite a good race in the end. He was up there throughout from the get-go, and he was the only one who was making the run in that race that stayed there come the end, because the closers had the say in the race. It was 1 by 1 ruler. Also as well, you have Van Gogh in there that finished second. Both of them two went on to frank the form. They both ran good races subsequently. One ruler was second behind Max Swinney in the Verton Futurity Stakes. And then also as well, you had Van Gogh, who went over to France to win a Group 1. And even the 4th place horse was Magallan for John and now Thady Gosden. And that horse was a Group 3 winner at Newcastle the other week and ran not too bad at Lingfield in the Spring Cup. So there's some nice substance to that form, and he's got a good draw tomorrow in Still 4, and I think he'll appreciate the better ground. Don't think he quite liked the ground that day at Newmarket, but I think this ground will definitely be in his favour. He's got a lovely pedigree as well, and Brian Meehan said he's been working well at home. And also as well, Brian Meehan has won this race in the past before. He won it in 2009 with a horse called Delegator, who was a nice flag bearer for him, and hasn't done too bad as a stallion as well. So a lot to like about Akmaam tomorrow. I think Masters of the Seas is potentially vulnerable. Obviously the form wasn't boosted today with Naval Crown. And also as well, Lab Barossa for Charlie Appleby. I'm not sure about him. I think the two horses they've got in this race aren't their best. I think what they ran in the Fielden Stakes on Tuesday is probably their best horses. I know from an inside word there that they really like the winner of that race. So yeah, I think this is a wide open contest, and I think Akmaam tomorrow has got a fantastic chance of going very well at a big price, and I'll be disappointed if he couldn't give us a decent run for our money. So that's why he's going to be our long shot in the Craven. We then move to the jumps card at Cheltenham in the 425. We go to the mares, 2 mile chase here, all mares races at Cheltenham tomorrow. But I'm going to go with Northern Beau here for Brendan Powell and Michael Scudamore. You can currently back this horse at the time recording at 5-2. And this is going to be my next best, where I'm recommending a 1-point win bet here. Now this horse has got a good record at Cheltenham. She's won over the course and distance twice in her career, and if you go back far enough, she actually won this race 2 years ago, where she beat Happy Diva, who was no mug for Kerry Lee during her career. She was a really nice horse to follow, Happy Diva. But yeah, Northern Beau now, I think she's down to a really workable mark. She's actually down to a mark of 121, which I do think is fairly workable. If you go back and look at some of her recent runs, I don't think she quite got home at Haydock over the longer trips. I think the drop back down in trip tomorrow will definitely suit her. I think she's more effective over the 2 mile distance. You know, she's a prominent racer as well, and Brendan Powell often wins ugly, in my personal opinion, when he's on a horse, but he never gives up, and I think he always is best normally from the front, and I think he'll get this horse into a good rhythm tomorrow, jumping from the front, and I think she'll stay there come the end. The conditions should be in her favour as well, and I think she's off now a very workable mark. Also as well, Michael Scudamore's team have been in good form, operating at 30% strike rate at the moment, and I just think there's a lot of ticks in the boxes tomorrow for Northern Beau to run a really good race, and I think she'll go very close and take all the beating. So that's why she's going to be my tip in the 425 at Cheltenham. We then go with my extra tip, which runs in the 445 at Newmarket. An interesting looking handicap here, but I thought Crossford would be the one for Ryan Moore and Charlie Hills. You can currently back this horse at the time recording at 6-1, and that price was available with Paddy Power and Betfair. I'm going to recommend a 0.5 each way selection here. Now this horse finished third on his first 2 starts during his career, but he then stepped up on what he'd shown to win at Newcastle, where he won a decent race that day. He beat a horse of John and now Thady Gosden's called Corden, who was actually a winner a couple of days ago at Newcastle. But if you go back through the form of that race, there's been quite a few subsequent winners, and he's going to be making his handicap debut tomorrow, and I think he's got a very workable mark for his first run in a handicap. He looks better to me than at least in his breed and what he's shown, than his handicap mark. He'll probably also as well appreciate going up in trip. He's bred to get further, up to 1.5 miles in time, so going up from 7 furlongs to 1 mile will really suit. He's got a good draw as well to work with as well tomorrow, and if Ryan Moore can go handy, I think that's where Ryan Moore's often seen to his best. I don't like Ryan when he's coming through traffic. I like him when he's up there, you know, with the pace, dictating things. If he can get this horse Crossford into a good prominent position tomorrow, I think he might take all the beating, and I think the the decent ground will also as well be in his favour. So I think there's a lot to like about the chances of Crossford tomorrow. Charlie Hills' team have been in good form. They had a nice winner as well at Newmarket on Tuesday. So a lot to like about Crossford, and that's why he's going to be my extra tip tomorrow at Newmarket. We then head back, or I should say we go away from Newmarket to the other flat meeting of the day up at Ripon, and this is where my nap's going to be coming. It runs in the last race on the card there, the 540 apprentice race, and I thought Dapper Man here could be the one for Safi Osborne and Roger Fell. Safi's claiming free tomorrow. Now, she was definitely a name to keep on side last year. I remember Safi did us a few good turns here on my YouTube channel, at least. I put her up a few times and she gave us a few winners. Now, Safi, obviously, she had that nasty accident, but she's back this year, and I think she's going to be a name you want to keep on side because I think she's going to have a good go to try and go well in the apprentice championship, even though it might be hard ask for her. But yeah, she's definitely going to be a name I think you want to keep on side. But yeah, this horse, Dapper Man, I think is a really interesting ride for her tomorrow. She's riding for Roger Fell. Now, this horse, last time we saw him, he finished 6th at Musselburgh, when actually it wasn't a bad run compared to what it looks like on paper. Now, if you go back and watch the run, he was actually drawn on the worst side of the track. You need to be drawn high that day. The winners came, or the horses that made the frame came from 16, 15, those kind of positions, whereas Dapper Man was drawn really low that day and still free. That would have been against him, and he's going to be bumping into Tim Easterby's horse again, whose name escapes me now. I think he's called Akmaam or something like that, but Akmaam had the run of the race that day and was on the right side of the track, and there's going to be £3 in Dapper Man's favour tomorrow. He's off a mark of 67, which on some of his old form is a workable mark. He won last year off a mark of 65 when he absolutely slooshed up at Catterick on soft ground, but I think this better ground won't be a problem for him. He's won over the course and distance before, and he's got a good draw tomorrow down at stall 6, and if Safi can get him in a good position, maybe just tracking Tim Easterby's horse, you know, and if the gap does open up down the rail, I think she's got every chance. You want horses that have got the experience at Ripon, because it's a very unusual track. It's very undulating in the sense that they go up and down a lot of dips in it. So you want horses that have done well in the past there, and ideally you want to be drawn towards that near side rail as you see it from the camera. So yeah, a lot of things to like about Dapper Man tomorrow. I'm currently back him at 9-2. This horse is going to be my nap, like I said, and I'm going to recommend a 1 point win bet there. Really sweet on his chances tomorrow. So yeah, that rounds off the 4 tips for tomorrow's racing. If you're enjoying these videos, please remember to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe here to my YouTube channel at LuckyLoaders15. Also as well, let me know in the comments box below what you fancy tomorrow. If you want to follow me on social media, you can do on Twitter, and that's the only place you can do on social media, where my handle is at LuckyLoader15. And if you want to find out a little bit more about myself, go to my website. It's www.chrisloaderracing.co.uk. So please gamble responsibly. Hopefully we can have some winners tomorrow, and we'll be seeing you soon.